Welcome back to another episode of A Clan a Day podcast brought to you by bagtownclans.com. I'm your host, Colin MacDonald, and today we'll be taking a fascinating look at Clan Henderson, or as it's known in Gaelic, Clan Eanruig. The Henderson story stretches far back into the ancient past, interwoven with Pictish royalty, Highland traditions, and the turbulent history of Scotland's clans. The Henderson name, meaning son of Henry, or MacIainruig in Gaelic, carries an intriguing legacy with connections across the Highlands, Lowlands, and even the borders. So sit back and let's unravel the legacy of Clan Henderson. The origins of Clan Henderson are as diverse as they are complex. The Henderson name is thought to derive from multiple sources, the most common being Henry's son, or in Gaelic, MacEanruig, but there's also a fascinating legend that links the clan's ancestry to a Pictish king. According to this tradition, their forefather was Eanruig Mór mac Righ Neachtain, or Big Henry, son of King Nechtan, a Pictish monarch who supposedly ruled in the early 8th century. While it's an impressive origin story, historians have found it difficult to substantiate this claim. More likely, the Hendersons can trace their roots to a man named Dughald MacEanruig who lived in the 1300s. Either way, the Hendersons' deep roots in Scottish history are undeniable. One of the most notable early branches of the Hendersons comes from Glencoe. This branch of the clan, known as MacIainruig, were the hereditary pipers to the MacIains of Glencoe, a sept of the Clan MacDonald. The MacIains would later be infamous for their role in the Glencoe Massacre of 1692. When we talk about the Hendersons of Glencoe, we're not just discussing a typical Highland family, but one intimately tied to one of the most tragic and infamous events in Scottish history. The massacre saw members of Clan MacDonald, including some Hendersons, slaughtered by government forces in a brutal betrayal. Henderson oral tradition says that the personal piper and sword-bearer of the MacDonald chief, known as Big Henderson of the Chanters, was among those killed in the massacre. A granite boulder known as the Henderson Stone stands near Glencoe, which local lore ties to the massacre. There are two versions of this tale. In one, a Campbell soldier, knowing of the impending massacre, warned a local resident by cryptically speaking to the stone, saying that if the stone knew what was about to happen, it would flee the glen. Another version tells of a Campbell piper playing a song near the stone, meant as a subtle warning to the residents of Glencoe. Though many perished, it's said that a few took heed and escaped the massacre. Moving from the Highlands to the far north, we find another branch of Clan Henderson deeply connected to Clan Gunn. The Hendersons of Caithness were a sept of Clan Gunn, descended from Henry Gunn, a son of George Gunn, who was the coroner of Caithness in the late 15th century. Henry's descendants took on the Henderson name and formed a distinct clan branch in this remote and rugged region of Scotland. The Hendersons of Caithness would go on to play a significant role in the power struggles of the far north, and their bond with the Gunns made them staunch allies in many feuds and battles. In contrast, the Hendersons of the Scottish Lowlands were quite different in character and influence. This branch, primarily based around Fordell in Fife, became significant landholders and political players in the turbulent times of 16th and 17th century Scotland. The seat of the Lowland Hendersons, Fordell Castle, was acquired by James Henderson in 1511, and it remained in the family for over 3 centuries. James Henderson, the family patriarch, died fighting for Scotland at the disastrous Battle of Flodden in 1513, a battle that claimed many noble lives, including that of King James for Forth himself. Perhaps the most famous Lowland Henderson was Alexander Henderson, who became a key figure during the Scottish Reformation. Born around 1583, Alexander studied at the University of St Andrews before rising to prominence as a religious leader. He became a fierce opponent of King Charles I's attempts to reform the Church of Scotland, particularly the introduction of the controversial New Prayer Book in 1637. His opposition led to the drafting of the National Covenant, a declaration of resistance to the king's religious reforms, which was signed at Greyfriars Kirk in Edinburgh in 1638. Alexander Henderson's name is synonymous with this historic event, and he went on to draft the Solemn League and Covenant of 1643, further cementing his role as one of the most influential Covenanters in Scottish history. His legacy in the Reformation period is still felt today, and his efforts helped to shape the future of Scotland's religious and political landscape. Interestingly, while the Hendersons of Fordell were staunch Presbyterians, not all members of the clan were aligned with the same cause. During the Scottish Civil War, John Henderson, the fifth of Fordell, fought for the Royalist cause, showing that even within the same family there could be sharp divisions. Today, the Clan Henderson remains a proud and vibrant community. The current clan chief, Alastair Henderson of Fordell, resides in Queensland, Australia, and continues to represent the clan at various events and gatherings. Fordell Castle, the ancient seat of the clan, stands as a reminder of the Hendersons' centuries of influence and their enduring place in Scottish history. The Hendersons' legacy is one of resilience, adaptability, and a strong sense of duty. Whether in the Highlands as pipers to the MacDonalds of Glencoe, in Caithness as part of Clan Gunn, or in the Lowlands as Covenanters and landholders, this multifaceted clan has left an indelible mark on Scotland's history and continues to be celebrated today. That's all for today's episode of A Clan a Day podcast. Join us next time as we delve into the history of another remarkable Scottish clan. I'm Colin MacDonald, and until next time, go and airy and both are leet.